All right, so fractions is something that many students struggle with. So here's just a quick overview of some key parts of fractions. First of all, a fraction is a number in the form of a over b, where b does not equal 0. It can be thought of having a parts out of the total b parts. So 3 over 4 would be you have 3 parts out of 4 total parts. The top number is called the numerator, and the bottom number is called the denominator. There's different types of fractions. For instance, we have the common fraction where the numerator and denominator are integers. So example, our fraction 3/4, 3 and 4 are both integers. An improper fraction is another fraction, and this is a fraction where the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So in this case, 5 is bigger than 4. 5/4 is an improper fraction. We have mixed number, which is a number that has a whole number out front and then a fraction. So example here, 1 and 1/4. We have complex fractions as well, and this is a fraction where the numerator, denominator, or possibly both have a fraction in them. So for instance, 3/4 over 4 has a fraction in the numerator, and then it still has a denominator of 4, so therefore it's a complex fraction. Some key vocabulary that goes with fractions. We've got the common denominator, and it's a denominator that's the same for 2 or more fractions, which we will be using. Simplifying, this means we write the fraction or mixed number in the smallest, simplest form. It might say put it in simplest form. So if I have 4/8, I can make that become 1/2 because 4 and 8 can both be divided by 4. Next one is greatest common factor, the GCF, which is the largest factor that two denominators would have in common. We have the least common multiple, which is the LCM. This is the least number, other than 0, that is a multiple of 2 or more given numbers. We've got the least common denominator, this is the LCD. So this is the least common multiple or smallest common multiple of 2 or more denominators. Now with operations of fractions, we can look at a few different ones, and they each have some of their own little traits. Addition and subtraction, they both must have common denominators. And we only add or subtract the numerators. The denominators have to stay the same once they are the same. We do not do anything with the denominators. So for example, if I've got 1/2 plus 1/3, the common denominator for 2 and 3 would be 6. So then I rewrite my equation. I've got 3/6 plus 2/6, because whatever I do at the bottom, I got to do the top. And to get to 6 from 2, I had to multiply by 3, so I had to multiply that one by 3 as well. Then I add my numerator, so 2 plus 3 equals 5. The denominator stays the same, and so my answer is 5/6. Another example with subtraction, 1/2 minus 1/4. The common denominator for 2 and 4 is 4, so we got lucky. This one we don't have to change. 2, we just multiplied by 2. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. We can rewrite it now. We've got 2/4 minus 1/4. We subtract our numerators. 2 minus 1 equals 1. Denominator stays the same, which is 4. And the answer is 1/4. Here's some example problems. You can pause the video at this moment and try them out. And now we move on to multiplication. With multiplication, we do not need a common denominator. We just multiply straight across. The numerator times the numerator and denominator times denominator. An example of this is 2/3 times 3/4. We do 2 times 3, multiplying the numerators, and we get 6. 3 times 4, multiplying the denominators, we get 12. So our answer is 6/12, or in this case, we can simplify that nicely to 1/2. With division, we once again do not need a common denominator. With division, we keep the first fraction the same, but take the reciprocal, which means switch the numerator and denominator of the second. So we multiply the two fractions. So 2/3 divided by 3/4, keep 2/3 the same, and take the reciprocal of 3/4, which is 4/3. Multiply 2/3 times 4/3. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9. The answer is 8/9.